gotta go now. I'm doing a video. Adios. Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to another Hammer Films entry on my channel here. Like the 80s throwback one that I posted a few days back, this one, it's also been a while since I've done a Hammer one. I think the last time I did a Hammer film was for Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde, which I think was almost 2 months ago now. But I worked in some other titles afterward, including during Scream Week, which was all just Scream. But anyways, finally able to dive into another Hammer film. And for you new people here, hope you enjoy this video and some of the ones that I have in my back catalog as well. And if so, give me a thumbs up. Consider both subscribing and hitting that little bell icon to get notifications for when I put up new content. Okay. Hammer Films has been, hit or miss. They've made so many movies. They're not all going to be winners. But a little over a year ago, I went through the 20 film set of Blu-rays for various Hammer films, and I did a video for each one of those movies. And once that was wrapped up, I did all the Dracula films that they produced, and then all the Frankenstein films, and I'd throw in like a little one-off here and there, such as The Devil Rides Out and Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde. So for this one, I decided to finally check out The Mummy from 1959. I'd seen the early, Universal Pictures interpretation, of course, and I really enjoyed it. And I had seen The Curse of the Mummy's Tomb, which from what I recall was, okay, it's pretty good. But it was surprising that this title wasn't in that Hammer film set, that they started off with the sequel rather than the original. But anyway, so for the original, the synopsis isn't too different from other Mummy films. It states, in 1895, British archaeologists find and open the tomb of Egyptian Princess Ananka with nefarious consequences. So from what I remember of the Universal ones and the Brendan Fraser ones and everything, they seem to play off a similar route. Though I will need to kind of revisit that Tom Cruise one, because I think that one just went kind of crazy in all sorts of weird directions. Anyways, for the Hammer Films interpretation, first off, it's great we got Christopher Lee in this. He's playing the Mummy, so of course, we're not really getting a whole bunch of dialogue, but later on go into that a little bit more. You just get a little bit of his face, and he's mainly just imposing his height and everything. It's a really awesome presence. And some other random stuff. It was directed by Terence Fisher, who I knew that I recognized the name. So I looked it up, and I've seen a lot of the movies that Terence Fisher has done. Did Curse of Frankenstein, The Revenge of Frankenstein, Horror of Dracula, Stranglers of Bombay, Brides of Dracula, The Gorgon, Dracula Prince of Darkness, Frankenstein Created Woman, The Devil Rides Out, Frankenstein Must Be Destroyed, and Frankenstein and a Monster from Hell. Those are just the ones that I've seen, so he's definitely really big amongst Hammer. I do like that this one had something that I've brought up a lot, which is just this look of the way that they did color in the late 50s. Though this one was also great because it had Peter Cushing in it, though it was a little bit weird that it's not just a younger version of him, compared to what most are familiar with in Star Wars, but or even in some of the later Hammer titles that I'd seen. But he's actually another character's son. I don't think I've ever thought of him that way. He's just always seemed like this old man for some reason. So it was a bit strange. But and the guy playing his father in this is the same one who played basically the dirty old man in the film Never Take Candy from a Stranger. Which is a film that really left me feeling quite down by the end of it. So check out my back catalog on that. You'll see my review. But this one was, we get a nice quick introduction. It only takes about 13 minutes to kind of set the stage for what's going on and get us where we need to go. So this mystery is set in motion about what's going to happen with opening up this tomb and what this curse is all about, or if the curse is even real. So some nice additions were the father kind of experiencing this and needing to be calmed down and, not really being taken seriously. So everything still just continues forward with what they've been doing with this tomb and unleashing this curse. But we get this whole kind of like what happened back in the day with the mummy kind of flashback. So instead of just being told this is what happened, it's similar to the beginning of the first Brendan Fraser Mummy film where they show what led up to the mummy. This one, it took a little bit before they finally kind of like consult an expert, and then they say this is what happened, these are who these characters are, this is who the mummy is and what the curse is about. So it's really nice to be able to actually see that all acted out. That's where we get some Christopher Lee actually seeing his face and speaking some dialogue. It's a great way to visualize what I'm used to only hearing about in some of these horror tales. They tell the tale and then they show us a movie. This one is actually showing us where all of that started. Now it does take a little bit to get going, to get to the actual mummy stuff. I think it's about 30 minutes in before we even like see like a full mummy and everything. But that also seems right for movies from this time or even like the next 20 years where they work up that suspense, that mystery feel to kind of, you know, let you in before they really throw too much at you. Look at a film like Jaws, I think you don't even see the shark until about 45 minutes in. But by the time we do get to some of that real action, it's really done well. The effects hold up really well. But I mean, honestly, I didn't really know what to expect as being different. I mean, I've watched over 40 Hammer films ranging from late 50s to like mid 70s, and I've seen their ups and downs with some of their titles. And with this property, I mean, of course it came out good. You know, they, I think is a really solid story that had already been interpreted before, so they're able to work on what they want to do with bringing it to the screen again, having different actors, changing up some bits of the story, and having just a nice updated version of the Mummy. So sadly, there isn't too much to say about this. You know, it's just a really good interpretation of the Mummy story that we've seen played out in various ways over the years. But, you know, whether it's a Universal Pictures one or any of the other Hammer entries of the Mummy films, you know, even the Brendan Fraser ones or even that Tom Cruise one, it seems like if you're interested in that story about the mummy and the curse and what's going to happen as this mummy, you know, gets loose, you'll probably find something to enjoy in all of those titles. Though it has been a really long time since I've seen the third Mummy film with Brendan Fraser. I think that one had Yetis in it. Or the Tom Cruise one. So that'd be like a whole other conversation. I have to revisit that film. Anyways, a notion which I frequently, you know, come back to in a lot of these reviews, of course, is pacing. And they pace this one out well. You know, they have that nice setup to pull you in, lay out that mystery. And we're given these little bits of lulls here and there in the pace where they introduce something and then they give you a little bit of a lull to kind of take that all in before they bring you into another part of the story. So it'll only be slow for a moment here and there, but it kind of pulled me in and everything was fine. And though I remember thinking the sequel was just okay, this one I think, you know, was definitely much better. Had me interested, has me interested now in sometime checking out the other Mummy films by Hammer that I haven't seen. From what I can tell, there's The Mummy's Shroud from 1967 and Blood from the Mummy's Tomb from 1971 to see how they did with those. I have to see if I'm missing any other titles in there, but anyways, quick summary, paced really well, great artistic style, you know, the whole design overall and that whole old color feel. And of course, Cushing was great, as expected. And, you know, all around, this is a fun little retro mummy film to check out if you're interested in those. If you like the Universal one and you want something just a little bit different, definitely worth checking out. And speaking of checking out, thanks for checking out this latest quick entry here for this Mummy film. I'm going to try to work in more of these throwbacks, as well as some of those 80s titles that I did just a few days ago, and some remake reviews to see if any of those remakes were really worth doing. Did they succeed? Did they fall flat? So, you know, now that I'm kind of done with that whole Scream Week thing, I'm definitely able to kind of open up and do some more titles. So be sure to like and subscribe and hit that bell icon to get notifications when I put up that new content, and I will see you in the next one.